We are talking with Paul Wozniak. He's an old friend of mine. I first met him when he was a young kid hanging around Rising Up Angry. He went on to be an environmental historian and activist up in Green Bay. And let me ask you, Paul, what do you do now?
I'm still doing history. My history has never been a paid profession. Matter of fact, it's like buying a boat. You spend your time and your money on the boat. Well, I spend it on history. I work as a statistician, data analyst. There are major programs in the United States to improve energy efficiency. You know, your local utility will have bill inserts. I'll tell you about light bulbs or motors or new types of clothes washers. Well, the reason they're doing that isn't because it's in their interest. The way the system is set up, they're actually incented to sell more electricity, more gas, but there's something called regulatory commissions in every state of the United States. And being more politically and being separated from the financial interests of the company, they can say, well, it's best for society if we make these energy resources last longer, if we don't waste. And so they issue orders on utility companies saying, you have to do this, you have to make this much savings, you have to do da-da-da-da-da. Well, that means a lot of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on that. And the Regulatory Commission, of course, says, are you wasting that money? Are you giving that to your buddies? Where's that money going? Someone has to verify, certify that something was accomplished.
Verifier.
Right, I work for a verification company.
All right, I have two more questions before we'll move on to another segment. And the second question will be, what are you doing in town today? But the first question is, I'd like to know what Green Bay is like. You know, I spent some time up on the Menominee Reservation, you know, and in the open in Kashina, particularly during the AIM days and the days that they took over the Abbey. A lot of these guys ended up in jail in Shawano, Wisconsin, and in Green Bay. You know, there's a Native American community in Green Bay, and it was always kind of the stories I heard that they were kind of exploited and they were treated in an unfair manner. We know that there's a rival to the Great Bears up there called the Packers, and that they certainly brought in a lot of African-American players. What's the town of Green Bay like today? I mean, you've been there as early as this morning.
Yeah, I moved there in 1975, and when I got there, I opened up the newspaper and I saw a headline that said novitiate in Kashina taken over by whatever, by Indians or something.
Yeah,
and that was I said, well, what is a novitiate? I didn't understand what the
hideout for the priests.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was really an abandoned church building on the Indian reservation, and some Indians from the AIM movement took it over, and one of them being Eddie Two Rivers.
And also, Dwayne Teller was the first guy to come out of the woods and tell people they had taken it over.
Yeah.
He's an old buddy of ours,
Yeah.
worked here, actually.
Yeah. Eddie passed on in December 2008.
Rest your soul, Eddie. I love you.
Yeah.
Eddie Two Rivers, great writer,
Great writer.
poetry. We miss you.
Yes. And, yeah, he was a remarkable figure, a working class guy who works as a machinist in Chicago. He had to deal with the rough and tough, but you asked the question, how is the situation?
What's Green Bay like?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, the thing that really struck out to me in my first year or two in Green Bay was how racist the people were towards the Native Americans. And I'm talking about this is a community of 95% white Northern European. It's a very homogenous. People are all related, an awful lot of them. But it was sort of like growing up in Chicago. I knew the animosity towards black people. I didn't realize that, well, that's the way they treat Indians up there. And they're dealing with it. There are community groups that for a long time have tried to deal with it, but that mistreatment of the indigenous people is racism just like any other, and many people hurt. So Green Bay is wrestling with that, and they're making progress in a lot of areas. I'll leave it there because I'm not prepared to talk at length.
Well, I think that Green Bay, like a lot of other places, is working on improving their situation.
Right.
Let's just say that. Now, the reason you came to Chicago today is because of there's something called the Battle of the Halstead Viaduct. And
Yes.
we all know that, May Day is happening today, and there are a number of events. There's a conference down at DePaul with scholars from around the world studying May Day and the workers' movements. And, there was a railroad strike here in 1877. There was a great battle. Tell us a little bit about the Battle of Halstead that's going to be reenacted tomorrow down there on Halstead at about 1600 South.
Yeah, I'm excited. There's I've been disturbed a lot of times by what are military reenactments. There are a lot of them all around the country where people dress up in uniforms, blue or gray or whatever, and they relive killing each other over nonsense. Okay. So here someone came up with the idea, why don't we reenact a labor struggle? Working people are hurting today. They don't know that in the past working people organized together to get better conditions, to get the 8-hour day, to get pay, to get rights for women and to free children from slavery. Well, this some entrepreneurs, performance type artists have scheduled something for 3 o'clock this Sunday, May 2nd, at the Halstead Street Viaduct at 16th and South Halstead. It's going to start at 3 p.m. sharp, and it's going to last for 45 minutes. They have some rehearsed things going on. They'll have historians recounting the event when 10,000 workers fought with police for control of the street. The railroad strike started in 1877 because wages were cut. Okay, these guys are working, paying the bills, and all of a sudden, the bosses say, well, we're going to cut your pay 10%, 20%, 30%. It's like happened to me, actually, and a lot of people in the last couple of years. They got mad, and I don't know if it was the most practical action, but they started a fight. And you can come there. It says all are invited to participate in one of 4 roles. You can come, first of all, just to look as a spectator. But they're going to have a group of people who will play the 12th Street Station Police Department. And they're going to give you hats and paper mustaches, whatever, to dress up in the role. They're going to have something called the Ragamuffin Troupe. No description. They're going to have the Howling Mob. Instead of having bricks and metal objects, they're going to have safe projectiles. So you can toss...
Styrofoam?
Well, it doesn't say. It says safe projectiles. And they're going to have something called the Bohemian Amazon Army. Yeah. All right. Now, I tell you, I came prepared, and I'll give you some ideas because I dug up, I've got a banner. I'm going to have a strike banner, an old red towel. And I brought some pots and pans, metal things that can clang. If you've ever seen demonstrations, you got to make some noise. So bring something to make some noise with that's legal and safe. That was my idea, and I think if we can get 10,000 people down there doing it, maybe we can change the U.S.
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see what side we're on, if we're going to be police guys or ragamuffins or bohemians. This will be great. It's the Battle of the Halstead Viaduct, a historical reenactment in 3 acts depicting Chicago's role in the Great Strike of 1877. Working men of Chicago. It says, no manhood, no ambition, have you no rights, a call to arms, a call for volunteers. So, Paul, I want to thank you for coming on Live from the Heartland. I want to say I'm looking forward to seeing you at the May Day dance tonight in support of Haiti. Here at the Heartland. The band Deluxe will be playing. It's a Haitian band, and I hope to see you on the lines tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, brother. Big round of applause for Paul Wozniak. And Lisa, how about a little bit of music? And we'll be right back with another good friend, Thom Clark, going to talk about a number of things.